Hello, in this video we're going to discuss the acceleration. Acceleration, it's the increase of speed or rate, but in physics, it means the rate of change of velocity. Acceleration happens as a result of increase or decrease of speed or as of the change in direction. So basically, it happens when there is a change in velocity. For example, in the first video, we have a quad bike. This quad bike is changing direction and moving in different kinds of roads. So, its velocity changes with respect to the road it takes. Its velocity going up the ramps differs from the one when it's going down. So here we say the quad bike is accelerating. Moving to the second video, there's a basketball falling. Its velocity is either increasing or decreasing according to the forces being exerted on it. So here we say the ball is accelerating since it's changing speed and directions. So the definition of acceleration is that it's the rate at which objects change their velocity. And since it depends on velocity, it's like the velocity, a vector quantity. Now, let's move on to calculating the acceleration. The acceleration is equal to the change in velocity divided by the time taken. For example, if a person moves from point A to point B, his acceleration is the difference of velocity between A and B over the time taken to move from A to B. So, the equation becomes the acceleration equals the final velocity minus initial velocity over the time taken. The final velocity is the velocity at point B, the initial velocity is the velocity at point A over the time taken as it moves from A to B. This equation is symbolized as A for acceleration equals to v minus u, where v is the final velocity and u is the initial velocity, divided by t, which is the time taken. Now, if you ask why we use symbol u to express the initial velocity, because simply letter u comes before letter v in the alphabets. Now, let's see what are the units for acceleration. Using the SI units in the equation of acceleration, v and u have the same unit. For example, the unit is centimeter per second, and the unit of time is second. Then, the unit of acceleration is centimeter per second per second. Or, it can be written in a simpler way as centimeter per second squared, or sometimes it's written as centimeter second to power minus 2. If the unit of velocity is meter per second, for example, and the unit of time is second, then the unit of acceleration is meter per second, or meter per second squared, or as we mentioned earlier, it can be written as meter second to power minus 2. Now, if the unit of velocity is kilometer per hour, and the unit of time is hour, then the unit of acceleration is kilometer per hour, or kilometer per hour squared, or as we mentioned earlier, it can be written as kilometer hour to power minus 2. These are the most important units that we will see: meter per second, or meter per second squared, kilometer per hour squared, or centimeter per second squared. Also, there's a possibility that we might see this unit, which is mile per hour squared, coming from mile per hour for velocity and hour for time. It's worth noting that this unit, mile per hour squared, is not an SI unit. Now let's move to rearranging the acceleration equation. This is simplified using the triangle method, where the vertical line means a multiplication and the horizontal line refers to a division. This triangle has the components of the acceleration: a being the acceleration, t the time, and v minus u is the change of velocity, where v is the final velocity and u is the initial velocity. As we know for now, we get the acceleration by the equation a is equal to v minus u divided by t, and if we want to determine the time, we have the acceleration and the change of velocity. Then it's given as t is equal to v minus u, and there is a horizontal line between v minus u and a, then it's divided by a. So t is equal to v minus u divided by a. And now, to find the change of velocity, which is v minus u, it's equal to the component a and t, and there's a vertical line between a and t, then this vertical line refers to multiplication. So v minus u is equal to a multiplied by t. If the question asks us to calculate either v or u, all what we have to do is to rearrange this equation. To obtain v is equal to a multiplied by t plus u. So we move u from the first side of the equation to the other side. And if we want to find u is equal to v minus a multiplied by t, and this is by rearranging the components of the equation and changing their sign as we move it from the first side of the equation to the other side. That's all. Thanks for watching.